world will look like, and how does adaptations help animals survive in their environment? And we will begin class by doing a bell ringer. So this is my example, but what you will be doing is naming one thing where you see a cause and effect relationship in nature. My example is polar bears live in cold temperatures, so they have thick fur to keep them warm. Their adaptation was the thick fur. So on your paper, come up with one thing where you see an adaptation or cause and effect relationship in nature. We will take 2 minutes and then we will discuss.
You can talk to our partners yet?
We'll talk after. So just take a second.
Actually, I'm slow. I might be special.
It's okay, just take a second to think before you write. If you need this put in another way, is what is one thing that helps an animal survive in their environment? That would be a cause and effect relationship.
And with that already finished, moving on to
Let's focus on the task at hand. Okay, we'll take 30 more seconds.
What are you doing to start telling?
Okay, we're gonna move forward even if you haven't finished, that's okay.
I'm not putting on the scene right now.
So does anyone want to share out what they might think? Go ahead.
I think so. So I saw on TikTok that axolotls turn into salamanders when they live in warm conditions. They don't need water anymore.
That's a good reflection.
It's on TikTok.
Zach, would you like to share?
I put monkeys have strong limbs, help swing on trees.
That's a perfect example. Okay, we're
Like
going to move on. So we're going to watch a clip from the Amoeba Sisters on natural selection.
Explain a basic example of natural selection. Consider these frogs sitting on logs in their habitat. Now let's assume that these are the same species of frogs, so they can breed with each other and they pass down their DNA to their offspring. And naturally, there is variety in these frogs. Some of these frogs are darker green, maybe almost a brown, and some of them are lighter green. There is a variety of traits, even in the same species, just like in people. So back to the log. You know what else is in this habitat? Predators. And the predators are finding here that the lighter frogs are much easier to see in this habitat than the darker frogs. So in this particular environment, the darker frogs are having an easier time surviving and potentially more fitness if they can breed. Fitness, in the biological sense, is determined by not how long they live, but by how many offspring they have. These darker frogs pass down their DNA to their offspring so that the new baby frogs will have the DNA from their parents. And the lighter frogs are being selected against since they're easier to see in this habitat. Now, over a long period of time, you could expect to see a higher frequency of darker frogs. If it continues for a very long time, it could even result in all the frogs in this area being darker. Evolution, which is change over time, could take place because natural selection has occurred. Natural selection is a mechanism of evolution. And one thing to point out, it doesn't necessarily mean that the allele for lighter color is gone completely. The allele could be recessive and carried within the population. And because of processes like crossing over and mutations, there are opportunities for variety. But if this habitat and predators do not change, then the darker frogs will continue to have more fitness. Now, we want to point out that variations and mutations are not things that an organism can will itself to have. frogs can't just think, you know, it's better for me to be darker, so I'm just gonna have some variation to be darker. Because if that was true, well, let's just say I might be a bit different. Mutations and variations, they are random. It's possible they might not have any effect on an organism's fitness. So in that case, the genes are to be passed down if the organism happens to be able to reproduce. Or variations and mutations can be negative. If they are negative and negatively affect the organism's fitness, meaning no babies, well then that trait will not be passed down. But if they have a positive effect on the fitness, then that frog may have more babies than average because that trait is helping them survive and reproduce. It's an adaptation, and over time there will be more babies with those genes. And over time that trait that is an advantage will be more frequent in the population. So what does this have to do with natural selection in bacteria that occurs from antibiotics? Well, keep in mind, there is variation in bacteria as well. For example, some of them might have an enhanced cell wall that makes it hard for an antibiotic to enter, or they could contain enzymes that could assist in breaking down an antibiotic. Now remember, the bacteria didn't will themselves to have those traits. Like our frog example, they are random variations. However, when you take antibiotics, the environment is being altered. The bacteria that have traits that allow them to survive that particular antibiotic will have higher fitness and can reproduce. Bacteria that do not have traits to help them with the antibiotics do not have very much fitness because they're dying. They can't have fitness if they're dead. Selection has taken place and...
Okay, we're gonna stop here. It's okay, you can finish it another time. And we're going to focus on some of these questions. So we're gonna have a quick discussion and feel free to share out if you have any questions or what are some things that you noticed in this video? And can you connect this to the real world? What does adaptations kind of look like in the real world? And does this answer anything you were unsure about? And if not, what are you still curious about? So can I have a volunteer?
Oh. You're gonna volunteer, is it?
We're gonna go to the
Go ahead, Kevin. Shoot your shot.
You wanna go ahead?
I can go.
Not you.
I noticed that a lot of times the adaptations that do happen don't happen necessarily out of like pure choice. It's kind of random. And so I think that's what natural selection is kind of about, that the people or like the organisms that are most suited will live longer and are more fit.
Good connection.
Well, this guy biology major, of course he knows.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, we said that because of natural selection, the light green frogs are more prone to like dying and stuff, or getting eaten. So that means that they're not completely eradicated, right? I mean, they're not completely killed.
It depends on this specific ecosystem that they were talking about, because the darker frogs thrive due to the ecosystem not being as bright or maybe having darker things where they can hide in. That's why the lighter ones did not survive. But maybe if they're in a brighter environment with lighter colored trees or leaves or clear ponds, then they might survive better than darker frogs. It just depends on what environment they're in.
But their lighter frogs are not gone forever.
Yeah. They might be gone in that specific ecosystem, but they'll probably be in another one.
Okay,
Does that answer your question?
kind of.
Okay. We're gonna move on.
I was gonna have a question.
So, do you have a question?
Nah, that's okay.
Okay. So we're gonna do our camouflage activity. So, does anyone know or want to take a guess what camouflage is?
Did you hide?
When you hide?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone want to add to that?
Can you adapt?
Adapt?
But
Can
like,
you elaborate on that?
Like you change your appearance to adapt on a certain, I guess, environment.
I like
you hide, but you're still there.
Okay,
Oh, shut up. Kevin.
so
Technically,
You could try
Okay.
it out.
you
Class,
blend
let's-
into the
let's
environment.
focus on
He's
this
got my
topic.
OG movies. Look at that.
So from our textbook, they wanted to describe it as a visual disguise that makes it harder for predators to spot prey or for an enemy to see a target. So this can be for plants, animals, or people. And the next question is, what might happen to the camouflage if their environment changes?
I think I have a clue.
Okay,
What might happen to the camouflage? The camouflage will be useless
why would it be useless?
because it's a visual disguise, right?
I disagree on
Can they
that.
change it to disguise at any point and moment?
I disagree on
Because
that.
if you're in disguising and
I disagree on that.
yeah.
Okay, we'll come to your point in a minute. Let's let Kim finish.
So if you disguise and your background changes, then unless you can change to the background like straight away, then you're gonna be visible.
Okay,
I
I like
disagree
that
on that.
point. What would you disagree on, Peter? What's your point?
Because by definition of camouflage means that you change it to adapt to the environment. So even if the environment changed, you would also change to the environment. So technically, even when the environment changed, I feel like the animal should also have that ability to change with the environment.
So it kind of does depend on the animal, because that kind of goes into the point of adaptation, like through species. So sometimes you have to wait until it happens through generations to adapt. And if they can't do that, then they either move out of that particular environment or they die out. So I do see your point. It's just in a longer span of generations.
Okay.
Like chameleon.
So our textbook wanted to define it as their camouflage may become less effective, potentially leading to an increased vulnerability to predators or difficulty hunting prey.
Like I said.
Good job. And camouflage is one of our vocabulary words we added to our word bank. So, and ecosystem as well. So make sure you keep an eye on that.
I didn't see the word all the time.
The word bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our word bank. We've been building it up through this unit.
Oh.
Okay, so this is going to be the directions for our hands-on activity, and this is our camouflage activity. So each group will have one predator, one timekeeper, and one data collector. The timekeeper will keep a timer on the phone over there for 30 seconds, and you'll remind your whole group once 10 seconds hits that they have 10 seconds left. The predator will have to scoop the first pom-pom they see. To make it as equitable as possible, you just scoop the first one you see, and you cannot use both hands. You can only use your spoon. And the data collector will tally which prey you get based off the color. And so this is what this example table look like. You'll have it on your own.
Okay, but Loki, stop moving.
It's okay. You'll have it on your own paper, and each of you guys will have your own table of data, but the data will be different based off of what you collect. We will do this 3 times, and then we will compare the data. And these are your materials. Each colored piece of paper represents a different habitat or biome. The green one is grasslands, and the yellow one is the desert. These are our different pom-poms. They will represent different animals. And then these are the materials you are given. And we can go ahead and break into groups. So if you wanna start making this example table on your paper. What's wrong?
I hate drawing.
We have people to do it.
Yeah. And then the one under this yellow is light green. It's just abbreviated.
What if I'm colorblind?
Well,
Can I
you're
still-
not. It's not. It's okay.
I'm just saying.
That is a good possibility, though. good to you? You good?
We're finished.
Okay. Okay. We'll take a few more seconds. Okay, so we're gonna move over to this table for a hands-on activity. Okay, so Kevin is going to begin our activity as the predator. Peter will be the data collector and Razak will be the timekeep. And Kevin will close his eyes and then he'll open it very quickly and grab the first one he sees. And then Peter will record. So when timekeep says go, you can begin and he will remind you when you have 10 seconds left.
Okay, ready, go. Seconds.
Oh, it's kind of slow.
Done.
Okay, stop there. Data keeper, make sure you have all of your pom-poms accounted for that were taken out.
Yeah.
Okay?
There's 3 green.
I got
Three
3
reds.
red, 2 orange, 3 yellow, 1 light green or whatever. It looked the same.
Okay.
So 1 light green, 2 purple, and 1 pink.
Okay, now we'll have the next predator go.
So I just
Okay.
get to like take it out of the green.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Wait,
What's
Ready? Okay, mix it up real well. Which you don't know.
Like that, teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Teacher, professor.
Miss him.
Alright, ready, set, go. Been 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, stop.
Okay.
Dang, look at that.
Let me count.
Bruh, you can't do that, bro.
So 2,
Look at this, bro.
Good job.
30
Oh.
or 1.
2,
Perfect.
3, 1, 3. Yellow 3. And 2 oranges. Hey, you're a good hunter.
No, bro.
I'm telling you.
You try.
Time keep whenever you're ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my god, moving the whole lanes.
Ten seconds.
Damn, what is
And done.
Okay.
Damn, that's pretty much everything, man.
I forgot to count 10 seconds a little bit earlier.
It's okay.
Okay.
Mm.
You know how to count.
Yeah.
Alright, let me help you.
3 red. Orange, 3 orange. 4.
Come on, you data science.
Okay, that's like green. 2 yellow. 2 pink. 2 pink. What's this last level that's red? Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so now we're gonna do the desert biome with Kevin as the
Desert.
predator first.
That's it.
Okay, so when timekeep allows, you can begin.
Ready, go.
Leave it, Captain. Oh, I forgot I'm not.
10 seconds.
Okay. Timekeep.
I actually didn't even notice yellow.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Well, I did notice it, but like,
That's
No,
not
you lied.
the first one you noticed?
it's not the first one I noticed.
Okay.
Like, I noticed it, but then I'm like, I forgot to pick it up because I saw like easier ones that could get, like they were easier to grab.
I see. That's a good observation.
Not really a predator for
So why waste my time trying to do those when I can get the
4 green is 4 green. 2 purple. Wait, okay, 2 light green. 1 pink and 2 red. 1 orange, 1 yellow. Okay.
Okay, the next predator, if you wanna.
Alright, come in.
And same thing, when timekeep allows, you can begin.
Alright, ready?
Mhm.
Close your eye, bro. Can't be cheating. Alright, ready, set, go.
Hey, look, even that's a go.
It's funny that you start with the hardest one. You go against the nature. Yeah. About 10 seconds left. Three, 2, 1.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a bad job.
Data collector,
Okay.
if you wanna.
I'm gonna count these.
Oh, those count?
They're out. 2, 2.
Well,
Why are you laughing?
it's
I can
funny
really
that
do
you
it.
go for the hardest one first instead of going for the big one.
1.
For real, so I can get some?
Yes.
No, bro.
Okay, timekeep when you give the go ahead.
3, 2, 1, go.
Bro. Okay, at least I scoop it out. See, I scoop it out.
Yeah, that counts.
See, successful.
We could take this one out.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
10 seconds left.
Like they're wasting the time.
Okay, it's fine. I still did more than you.
Oh,
Okay,
done.
time
All done. All
keep.
done. All done. Sorry.
Okay.
I get too
Dang.
distracted. This one actually didn't count. 'Cause I
It's, I still did more than you.
Okay.
I was actually, I was so invested.
Data collector, if you wanna go ahead.
And I get all the hard one out.
Hey,
I was super
No, you-
invested, teacher.
Where'd you get these from?
wait, where's this paper?
This paper is
The one without the desert. Right here.
This one.
Bro, are you?
Okay, good job everyone. That was a good activity. Okay, so now we're going to do our reflection, which will count as our exit ticket today. So you don't have to worry about, we'll do this as a discussion together, and then you're gonna write your response in 2 to 3 sentences, so very short. But did anyone notice if a specific prey survived the best in our activity, if you look at your data? Yeah, which prey?
In the greenlands, the light green and green were super low in my table. And then in the desert, the yellow were the ones that had like super low sensitivity.
Does
Yeah.
anyone else's data disagree with that? No?
Oh, my green lanes, the green has the highest amount. Like, survival.
Yeah.
Okay,
And like yellow.
so did you notice a change in your data when the environment changed?
Yeah.
So you can focus on a specific color and see if it changed.
Yeah.
Yeah?
My
What
green,
happened?
my greens were dead. They died so much in the desert. All of them died.
Is it same for everyone else?
My green frogs.
Yeah, there was a lot of orange in the green lands, like that, like the desert. Not very much.
TikTok.
It's okay.
Stop being nonchalant.
Can you think of a real animal that uses camouflage?
Mhm.
What animal comes to mind?
The
Chameleon.
chameleon.
That's a good one.
Yeah, chameleon.
Snake.
A snake.
Oh yeah, I like snakes.
And how does their camouflage help them?
To blend in the environment, that make it harder for predator to see.
Yeah, that way, like a bald eagle, like it won't like scoop with a fork, with a spoon, the snake.
I like that observation.
But also like that kind of things help it kind of hunting as well. Because if the predator can't see them, its prey cannot see them as well.
Yeah,
So
However,
it can get food easily.
that's good.
however, it also depends on size.
Mhm.
So I think that snake is a good example because they're all roughly around the same size. I'd like to think.
Mhm.
Maybe you can fact check me, but
Fact.
yeah, I think that size is very relevant to why snakes use like camouflage is so important.
So, did you notice any? I know we didn't record data on the size of our pom-poms, but did you notice when you were watching that maybe the bigger pom-poms were the first to be grabbed?
Yeah, no matter what color, they were really
Not for
visible.
exactly.
Okay, so if a predator population increased in an area, what do you think would happen?
The what?
If a predator population increases?
Oh, it's gonna get wiped out.
Yeah, so if we had maybe 2 predators during our activity, we would finish too quickly because there's not enough prey.
Yeah,
You don't have time to reproduce.
it could ruin the ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
like the word.
That's a good, yep, referring back to our word bank.
Yeah.
And then, so can you think of any other factors that might impact prey from being eaten by a predator? I know we already touched on size, but maybe something else.
Mutation.
Mutation?
Like let's say a prey getting I don't know, infected
Mm-hmm.
would kind of reduce, I don't know, like reduce getting, like the chance of it getting eaten is like lower than the one get without infections.
Mm-hmm. That's a good observation.
Habitat.
Habitat?
Mhm.
Elaborate on that.
So habitat because there might be like habitat invasive species
Mm-hmm.
that are not meant to be that habitat, so it can ruin like it could ruin how prey's like life cycle.
Mm-hmm. That's a good observation.
I learned it in TikTok.
Good job. TikTok's very informative. Okay, so we're gonna take 2 minutes for you to write down your reflections. It doesn't have to be very long, just 2 to 3 sentences. And try to use some of the words from our word bank.
Oh, you're
But
not
next
gonna ask us like what we wrote down?
No, I'll take up your paper and I'll look about it.
Are we gonna get graded?
This will be a formative grade, so it's just seeing what we learned today. Because this is the beginning of our lessons about this topic, we're not gonna grade you on anything.
Okay.
If we
But-
write something like super good, do we get to skip a grade?
No, not that one. But for next time, we're gonna be talking about how animal groups and solo animals, how that looks different and how that's beneficial.
Oh,
But we
I
did
like
really
that
good today.
like a school of fish compared to a normal fish.
That's
Or
a
like,
good
or
one.
like wolf, they go in what?
Packs.
Pack.
Tax, good
We're a pack of